Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Tempe City Council Work Study Session Agenda. Council meetings can be watched in real time via Cox Cable Channel 11 and at tempe.gov/tempe11. Members of the public may also attend the meeting virtually through Microsoft Teams. Item number 2, call to the audience. The City Council welcomes public comment at this time for the issue review session and committee of the whole items on this work study session agenda. There is a 3-minute time limit per speaker. Madam Clerk, do we have any comment cards this evening?
None received for this meeting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And is there anyone in the audience wishing to address the council this evening? Please get my attention. Okay, seeing none, I will close that item and move to item number 3, which is our issue review session. And the first item up this evening is the Mill Avenue Streetscape, University Drive to Rio Salado Parkway. And I see Eric Iverson and Tara Ford joining us at the table. Good afternoon.
Here we go. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. I'm Eric Iverson, the Transportation and Sustainability Director.
Tara Ford, Public Works Director.
And we are here this afternoon to share with you an update. This is a point in time update on where the status of the construction of the improvements in the downtown Tempe area on Mill Avenue. We do want to emphasize as you all know, the construction project is ongoing. It's fluid. We keep evolving as we need to incorporate all the changes that are happening with special events, business access, and really making sure the street's still functioning as we're going through this construction. So even some of the pictures that we're sharing we've made progress since then. So when we published the packet last week, we've made obviously progress since then. So we just want to emphasize that point. And we're going to be sharing the presentation. So next slide. We're going to give a little bit of history. You all know the history of the project, but a little bit of the history. We're going to give an update on the outreach and all the coordination that we're doing with the businesses and working with the DTA and the residents downtown. And then, of course, touch on what's happening with kind of construction schedule in the next phase. Then, of course, like any project, capital project at the city, any program at the city, we're attached to several of your performance measures. You can see the ones listed here. Mill Avenue is very important to all of us and is making a lot of changes for the community, so it touches several different performance measures. And then overall project, we're, as you all know, this has been going on for several years. Design process took a long time. Once we completed design and we really got into construction, it's been moving quick since we started late last summer. And so all that public outreach that happened, we continue to do that to make sure we get feedback and we get things right as we're into construction. We are going to share images tonight of all the different elements that are changing on the street. You can see those listed here. I'm not going to go through them right now because we're going to have pictures of each one of those elements. And then really just want to emphasize kind of the big picture here. This is about improving our downtown. It hasn't been gone through a real refresh in 40 plus years since the mid 80s. So this is upgrading our infrastructure, upgrading the aesthetics of the street, and really getting it ready for all the growth that we've had and all the new cool stuff that's happening in the downtown. And this is a map. Of course, we all know we're talking downtown, so we're looking at Rio Salado Parkway on the north, down to University Drive on the south for the improvements that are happening on the street. And then, yeah, a little bit more information on kind of our approach. We've talked about how we're coordinating with the businesses. We are really trying to accommodate all the different changes that happen daily on the street. There's surprises under the ground. We have, we've done all sorts of, utility explorations, but we still, because it's an old street, there's old infrastructure, we find surprises that have to, make us move and adjust the project. So we continue to work on that. We're trying to keep the street open as much as possible. We do have to close at times. Keep pedestrian access open to all the businesses, of course, transit access. We're talking about not just, we're talking about infrastructure upgrades, water lines, irrigation lines, electric lines, but then also new trees, stuff above the ground too. So it's below the ground, on top of the ground. So lots of different elements of the project.
And one of the things I'd like to add on this is It would be simple if it was one project, one of the things that Eric said, just irrigation or just sidewalk, but you have to, it's one project, but it's actually multiple projects in one. So you have multiple crews out there working on different infrastructure where it may be irrigation, electrical, sidewalks, and so we have to be cognizant of that, and we've been communicating that with the business owners, but I do want to point that out. It's not just one simple project.
We kicked off really fully last summer, end of July, beginning of August. We had the intersection of Mill and University closed. You probably all remember that. This is a big dramatic closure of two major arterial streets in our downtown. That was about 4 days of work, but really that was the start of the project, completed on time and within budget. And you can see an aerial view here on the images that show that repaving. Some of the things to point out here that are starting to set the tone for the rest of the project as we move through it. New directional ramps that meet all of our ADA, new requirements that we have, the new pavement, and of course all the different lane stripings. We had to work with the streetcar, other transportation devices that were going through the intersection. So lots of coordination work on that, but that was completed last summer. And then we got into the work on the street itself. So you'll all recall, we've mentioned it in previous presentations, this really started as an underground infrastructure project. So upgrading our electrical capacities on the street, upgrading our irrigation capacities on the street so that the trees could survive, future events were well supported. All the stuff that we need to do on that street are accommodated. So want to mention kind of the key takeaways on this picture is if you look on the picture to the right in the lower left-hand corner of that right picture, you'll see a 2-foot concrete band that's on the backside of the curb. That is really where all the new irrigation and electrical is going. So it's centralized, it's easy to access, it's clear where it is in the street, and so that is really demarcated with that 2-foot concrete band that's on the backside of the sidewalk. You'll see that continuously along the street. And then we get into the brickwork. As you all should recall, we have 2 different types of brick that are being installed on the street. We have the traditional red brick that everyone historically has been fond of, and we continue with the installation of that in the mid-block portions of the street. At the corners, at the intersection, we're introducing a new contemporary brick, concrete gray contemporary concrete unit paver. You can see pictures of the 2 different styles of brick that are being installed. These 2 pictures here down by the 7th to University block, kind of in front of the Pita Jungle location. You can see the concrete brick and the red brick, and these are completed or nearly completed sections of the street. So you can see that form, that new aesthetic form coming together. And one key thing to point out here is that Mill Avenue is really busy with pedestrians, continues to get growth in the number of pedestrians we see. And where we had excess pavement in the street, so not removing any lanes of traffic, not removing turn lanes, but where we had excess pavement in the street, we're bumping out into the street and expanding that pedestrian zone. Gives a little bit more space sometimes for trees, but definitely more space for pedestrians and future activation in the street, like the Tempe Blooms Festival we just had last weekend. They're using the sidewalk area. So expanded pedestrian zones are really helpful. The picture on the lower right is where you can see kind of a curved curb. That's where the sidewalk really bumped out into the street and is creating a little bit more pedestrian space.
Quick thing, Councilmember Amberg has a question.
Yeah, just quick question. Where you've bumped out the pedestrian, there is still a bike lane though, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just make sure.
Continuous bike lane north and south on the street. Trees, major element of the project. Lots of discussion with the community and the business owners over the last several years on tree species. We are introducing 5 new tree species in the street. These are not unfamiliar to the rest of Tempe. They're great desert trees from other deserts of the world. Do really well with the higher heat that we have and the low rainfall amounts that we have. So those would be replacing the ficus trees that are out there, have been out there for several decades. We are keeping mature, healthy ficus where we can, and so you'll see those, and it gives us good tree canopy coverage and a nice adjustment period where we're waiting for the new trees to grow. But you can see a picture here of some of the ficus that are on the block between 6th and 7th, where we've not only saved that ficus, there's a couple of ficus in there, we've expanded the planter area. So where we can, and this has always been an objective of the project, is where we can expand that planting area while not losing pedestrian space. It's really important. We are. So you can see here in that picture with the ficus, and actually the other 2 pictures where we have a little bit larger planting area for those trees' health. You can see 2 of the trees that we've selected, pistache and olive, are already going into the ground. So trees are being planted before the end of the year. We started dropping trees in. So hopefully those will take off quick and start to give us the shade that the ficus provide. The string lighting that's over 3 different blocks, that is completed. That was one of the first pieces of the project that happened. So 3rd Street, you can see the 3 locations here. 3rd Street on the west side of Mill, that was completed. That's on the Cafe Boa block area. And then the 2 sides of 6th Street on Mill, those string lights have also been completed, and you see those pictures here. At each of the corners, there's 22 different locations in the half-mile area. There will be images. These are kind of mosaic work images of the history of Tempe. So we're looking at the whole history of Tempe from indigenous times to contemporary. You can see most of the images here. It's one of the last pieces that will go in, but you can see a placeholder down there at the northeast corner of Mill and University. You can see that circle there. That's where that's an example of where those lithomosaic images will go. Finally, we have a couple more slides on this, but there is a lot of ADA improvements that are happening with the project, and I've mentioned some of those in the earlier slides, but we have cross slope issues like the angle on the sidewalk. We have connections to the street that were not compliant with ADA. So really after 40 years of new ADA law, we're meeting all those new ADA requirements. And that's a huge piece of the project. Checks off the list, the city's ADA transition plan. This is really important to us. So tackling that, as Tara said, multiple projects are being tackled with this project, and ADA improvements is one of them. We have transit access, lots of transit access on the street. We have 3 new bus shelters that are going in, and the important thing to mention here is that with those, we're also working with those 3 that are going in, we're working with the city's public art program. We are engaged with some Native American artists that are doing some indigenous designs that will be those shelters on the street. And then finally, we have a really cool element of the project, another aesthetic treatment that is a gateway sign over the street. This is going to go on the block between 7th and University. You can see some images here. It's roughly block, so between 7th and University, it's roughly mid-block, facing south. So it's really kind of an arrival point to Mill Avenue. You can see these images here showing it lit up at night and what it looks like in the day. We're looking at contemporary materials. This is a concept design. We are working through the structural engineering of it right now, so it will change a little bit, but this is roughly the image of what we expect to have over the street with that gateway. Hand it over to Tara.
And working through this, it's very important that we work with all the businesses, DTA, everybody involved, and all of the recent and upcoming events I have listed on here. We have listed on here. We had to coordinate around the Rock and Roll Running Series, Tempe's Blooms. It was very successful. So like I said, we have multiple projects going on, so it's important we communicate with DTA, with these events, so we can shut it down at the time that we need to. They can have a safe event if we need to plate the area or whatever we need to do to ensure access to all the buildings, while also they can have their event, and then we can pick up construction the next week. It's very important. Tons of coordination, tons of outreach. As you can see on here, Tempe Tourism as well, ASU, everybody's involved. And Eric has pointed out, it is a very fluid process. Continually meetings. It's not once a month. It's pretty much every day. We have scheduled meetings, 2 different ones every week, every Tuesday, which I'll hit on. Every second Tuesday, we meet with DTA and us have a meeting that is virtual for all the business owners. They can attend. It's recorded. They can go back and watch, ask questions, anything like that. In this project, access, which I just hit on, but here's some pictures of this. We need to ensure that the businesses still have access for deliveries, for patrons, whatnot. So you can see here with the plates on the ground, we put those there for access in, for deliveries, for drop-off. Working with DTA, we've bagged some of the meters to mark off locations just for those businesses. So again, food delivery or somebody just running in to pick something up. And here are some of the signs I think some of you have seen, and in working with DTA, it is a stressful process for a lot of people. We understand that. And so to make it a little bit more fun, put a little light on it, they create these signs, working with the business owners, and this is pretty much the outreach that they do, and then, well, additional outreach, not all that they do, for pedestrian signage. And advance notice for restrictions. We make sure that we do that, communicate with everybody. We've had situations with transportation, say it's light rail or bus or what it may be, and if it has to be shut down for a section of time, then we work with them in advance too, because that is going to happen and has on this project. And it's all been going well. And I want to point out that this is a rough schedule. And when Eric said it was fluid, it's very fluid. We've already changed it dramatically. When this project first started, it was block by block. It was going to last for probably over 2 years. Once we started going, we realized this isn't going to work. We need to expedite this. So we can't do that on our own. It's very important we work with the business owners. We work with DTA, which we've been doing. Aiken Gardner's been wonderful. We have Eric's team modifying the traffic control plans. And I'm pointing all this out because there's a lot of moving parts to this project, and everybody's been wonderful working through this. So we've expedited the schedule. Our goal is to get done by the beginning of next year. That's our goal to be done. We think we can, I'm pretty confident that we'll hit that. So what that means is that, did I hit that other slide? Oh, it's on this one, sorry. That we'll be doing day and nighttime operations. We are running 24/7. So you'll see next to the businesses, that work is being done at nighttime. The curbside work is being done during the day. We're going to have intersection work, mid-block work, and I know this is like a lot of moving parts, but it's the mid-block work is going to be complete from University of 7th in the beginning of February. So you'll see everything gone mid-block of University to 7th Street. The corners still need to be done, so we will still, because that includes the traffic signals, a lot of electrical work, and so we need to coordinate that as well. We will be doing, we call it checkerboarding, to where we'll be maybe up in that area and also down at 3rd or 4th Street at the same time. So we are going to be in multiple locations, such as, here's an example on here that is not probably going to happen. We realize this today in working through this schedule, and we're working with a business owner, that a few business owners, that this intersection probably will not happen. 6th Street intersection improvements beginning March. We're looking at moving that back and moving a different intersection up so that we can, if it works for us and works for them, that's the type of collaboration we're doing. So I wanted to point that one out on here as well. And then the target completion date. And again, we're going to continue this ongoing dialogue with the businesses, with the merchants, and then the next meetings that we have, our next virtual meetings, January 14th, we already had that one, February 11th, March 11th, April 8th, and so on and so forth, which is the second Tuesday of each month.
And then just to mention, all those virtual meetings that we're hosting monthly, those are construction updates. They're open to everyone. They're recorded, and so people can go back and watch what the update was if they can the meeting itself. So and those are all online at the project website.
So now we'd like to open it up for any questions.
Wonderful. Thank you. Councilmember Adams?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Great job. I've been looking forward to this downtown refresh for years, and I'm just really excited about how you're doing it and getting it finally accomplished. So I appreciate it a lot. And how are the businesses holding up with all of that in general?
So far, I think good. I mean, we go to the DTA board meetings as well. So Eric and I are at the DTA board meetings, and we talk there too and take questions from there. I work very closely with Lori Foster, and so far, everything's the feedback we've received is good. And you know, I mean, from what I understand too, some businesses are struggling a little bit, and it could be due to the construction or other items. We're not sure, and that's why, I mean, we did have an instance, like I said, we're working with them, and when we can, we will modify our plan. We've already done this with the festoon lighting. We will modify, try to make it quicker or not, shut down the street. That was an example that we did. We were in and out of there in a week for the festoon lighting, where it was originally scheduled for 3 weeks. So those
impressive.
types of things we can do. Anything's possible.
Well, and that's really impressive for construction, especially. Usually it's like 2 months late, and then you guys got it done early. So very impressive. I like it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Further comments, questions?
Great job.
Thank you.
Mayor,
I have a question.
Oh, sorry, Vice Mayor Garland, appreciate it. Go for it.
Oh, I was worse.
I can't believe you forgot me.
No, my apologies.
I just want to, that's all right. I just think it's amazing, all the balls in the air for this project and how well you guys are doing. So thank you. I appreciate the paying attention to the detail with the businesses and making sure that we want to make sure that they're really successful. Really, at the end, when this is all done, it's going to be really great for them. And I'm looking forward to it. I like the at this rock and roll marathon, there were 9,000 people downtown Tempe, and it was safe. You guys did a great job of making that safe and accessible to all the people that were there. So that was awesome. In the design, again, I love the wide walkways, and I love the gateway design. But I just want to say thank you so much for the indigenous designs that you are including in this project. I'm really happy that we are working with that community to add artwork to downtown. So I just want to say thank you very much. You guys are doing a great job.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Vice Mayor. Anyone else? Any other comments or questions? All right, see none. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
That brings us to item 3B, Sandy Hook Promise update. And I will be right back. Carry on without me.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having us. Good afternoon, I would say Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council, and City Manager. My name is Maria, and I'm the Social Services Coordinator in the Community Health and Human Services Department. I'm here to specifically talk about the Care 7 Youth Special Sandy Hook Promise programming that we've been doing within the schools. Yeah, and then this is Kristen Charlo, the Care 7 Manager as well. To start off, here is our strategic priority. It's relatively new to our program, but it is tied to our priorities here in the city. I'm going to scoot a little. Thank you. Yes, I will. Sorry. All right. So I would like to start with sharing some background information about the Care 7 Youth Specialists. The Youth Specialist Program is a unique collaboration between the City of Tempe, the Tempe Union High School District, Elementary School District. Housed at school sites, the city program provides immediate access to much-needed services for students and their families. The programming serves as another touch point for city residents to seek assistance and ensures that children have continuous support and accessible support on each one of their school campuses. As many of you know, schools are common and accessible and safe places where many city residents go, especially when in need of help. And as a city, we've been able to provide that accessibility of our programs by being present on each school campus. There are 12 full-time youth specialists in the high schools, 7 of them being full-time positions, and then 5 being temporary positions that work full-time hours. The elementary school district, we have 6 youth specialists that are temporary positions working full-time hours. You'll note that the 7 positions in the high schools are at a 50-50 split, meaning that the city provides 50% of the funding and then the school districts provide the other 50%, showing commitment to that program. Same thing with the Tempe Elementary School District. They're at a 50-50 split. The youth specialists focus on creating safe spaces where students can seek assistance from a trusted adult. Youth specialists support students individually through support groups, crisis intervention, or they respond to crisis and connect to community and city resources and facilitate the Sandy Hook Promise programming that we are here to talk about today. Today's presentation will focus on Sandy Hook Promise and how Tempe has partnered with this organization. This partnership is definitely one of a kind and the first of its kind in Arizona. We're incredibly proud of the work that is being done, and we hope to share it with other cities as well as the governor's office soon enough. A little bit about Sandy Hook Promise. Sandy Hook Promise is a nonprofit organization founded by family members whose loved ones were killed at Sandy Hook Elementary on December 14th, 2012. To honor all victims, Sandy Hook Promise has developed a program accessible to all schools that empowers youth to know the signs and come together to create a school culture that takes meaningful actions to prevent violence, specifically gun violence. Sandy Hook Promise envisions a future where all children are free from school shootings and other acts of violence. As a national nonprofit organization, Sandy Hook Promise's mission is to educate and empower youth and adults to prevent violence in schools, homes, and communities. Sandy Hook Promise teaches the warning signs of someone who may be in crisis, socially isolated, or at risk of hurting themselves or others, and how to get help. Sandy Hook Promise also advances school safety, youth mental health, and responsible gun ownership at the state and federal levels through nonpartisan policy and partnerships. In Tempe, youth specialists are trained on Sandy Hook Promise programming, and they take that information to each school site. Sandy Hook Promise has developed endless amounts of content that can be used at all grade levels. With those materials, we develop monthly themes like the ones that you see listed on the slide. These themes address isolation, bullying, lack of mental wellness, and many other issues that the youth face today. You will also see that Start with Hello and Say Something are highlighted on the slide. These two themes have dedicated action weeks, during which students develop activities and messaging each day to support the themes during that week. Start with Hello focuses on empowering students to recognize loneliness and social isolation in their peers. The activities offer strategies to reach out and help grow an empathic and inclusive community. The Say Something program teaches elementary, middle, and high school students to recognize warning signs of someone who may be at risk of hurting themselves or others and how to say something to a trusted adult and get help. Through this programming, students build essential skills, including on how to empathize with others and seek help when needed, and how to identify problems and analyze solutions, as well as solve problems in a responsible manner. Youth specialists then take all of that content, it's seen in the previous slide, and recruit for and facilitate SAVE Promise Clubs, SAVE standing for Students Against Violence Everywhere. Youth specialists provide the students with themes, and students then come up with ideas about activities and how to implement them. Students will then organize and put their planning into action. The key to these SAVE Promise Clubs is that they're youth-led organizations that encourage young people to take charge of keeping their friends, schools, and communities safe. They offer a powerful approach to preventing violence because they recognize the unique role that young people play in making their schools and communities safer. Students work together to learn about the warning signs and the importance of being an upstander versus a bystander. Currently, we have SAVE Promise Clubs at all 6 of the Tempe Union High School District high schools, 3 of the middle schools in Tempe Elementary School District, and we are starting 2 clubs in our K through 5th schools that we're in as well. Right here, what you'll see is a snapshot from an event that we were very, very lucky to host this last year. So in February 2024, Sandy Hook Promise chose Tempe to host its leadership training. The goal of the training was to bring all of the leadership of each SAVE club together for a day to discuss Sandy Hook Promise's goals and brainstorm for how clubs on each campus can spread awareness of mental health and the resources available on campus. The leadership training was held at the Envision Center, and there were a total of 100 students represented from Tempe Elementary School District and Tempe Union High School District. On this slide, you'll see some of Sandy Hook Promise's national data because it is a national organization. So you'll see that it definitely has an impact. 31 million, or over 31 million have participated and know the signs. Over 5,000 clubs nationwide. Over 280,000 anonymous tips received from students and adults. And it has shown that at least 700 youth have been saved from suicide and at least 16 credible planned school attack shootings have been prevented. On the right side, you will see quite a few of our youth specialists participating in a December leadership event that we had as well, along with some of our students. The next steps. We will continue to work to expand Sandy Hook Promise programs at the schools, along with our partners, of course. We are also researching and hoping to expand by looking into another part of Sandy Hook Promise's programming, the Save Something Anonymous reporting system. The system allows individuals to submit a tip anonymously via text, app, website, or hotline. The tips are then triaged, categorized, and delivered to the district by the crisis center, and then schools can then assess and intervene as needed. The city of Tempe is the first in Arizona to implement this program. Our approach has gotten the attention of a lot of cities around us and the governor's office, and is quickly becoming the standard for implementation. Sandy Hook Promise has initiated conversations with the governor's office, and we hope to share this innovative work being done in the city of Tempe. And then we're also in the process of exploring sources to ensure that the program continues in schools. A quick thank you. Well, thank you for allowing me the time to come in and talk about this, but also a special thank you to Councilmember Hodge for the presentation request, the breakfast with Burdetta as well, and then just showing support for the program for the proclamation done earlier. And I'm open to any questions the council may have.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Council, any comments or questions? Councilmember Hodge?
The only comment I have is not only are we the first city in this state, we're the second in the country to do it. So they keep saying that over and over again. We are pioneers. We set the bar high. Thank you for all the help and everything that you're doing within the city and the schools. We really appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Hodge. Councilmember Adams?
Yes, thank you for the presentation. This is a wonderful program, and I'm so glad that we're second in the country with this program, and keep up the good work. As a social worker, this like really hits home for me and all the kids that I used to work with and things. So keep up the great work, and I fully support this program. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Anyone else further comments or questions? All right, hearing none. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
That brings me to item 3C, Tempe pre-update. And that is Mary Mazey and Alicia Tunstall.
Want to do the clicking? Okay.
Whoops. Good afternoon, Mayor Woods, Vice Mayor Garland, and members of council. My name is Mary Mazey, and I serve as Deputy Director in the Community Health and Human Services Department for our Wellbeing and Empowerment Division. In our division, we have community health programs, workforce development, and education programs, including Tempe Pre. Joining me today is our Tempe Pre Supervisor, Alicia Tunstall. A valued member of our team, Alicia is in her second school year of leading the program. Our informational presentation today will not only cover how we're currently offering Tempe Pre to our community, but also its impacts with children, parents, and teachers. Tempe Pre actively contributes to advancing the City Council's Performance Measure 3.06 Quality Pre-K designation. All Tempe Pre sites participate in the statewide Quality First rating system. We're proud to share a recent accomplishment is that our GETS program site, just this last month in December, earned a 4-star rating. So I'm going to now turn it over to Alicia to share more about program operations and outcomes.
Good afternoon, Mayor and council members. Again, I'm Alicia Tunstall, Tempe Pre Supervisor, and appreciative of this opportunity to share updates with you about our program. Brief overview, Tempe Pre is the city's high-quality full-day preschool designed to make preschool accessible and free, and it has tuition-based options to improve school readiness in our community. Yeah. How's that? Better. Okay. Tempe Pre started as a council work group and feasibility study back in 2015, 2016, and currently is celebrating the second year of dedicated general funding support from the city. Tempe Pre has served a total of 1,873 children and families to date in high-quality early learning environments. While these numbers reflect student enrollment at the end of each school year, actual students served is higher as families enroll and disenroll throughout the school year. Tempe Pre teaching teams create 34 additional jobs within the city. We are currently at 98% capacity as a program, and we continue to enroll students throughout the school year. Currently, 81% of our enrolled families receive financial assistance. This slide takes a closer look at Tempe Pre tuition access for families and students. I want to emphasize that 95 families that reside in Tempe are receiving city-funded free tuition, and 11 families that reside in Tempe are accessing half tuition city-funded spots, with our other families accessing other tuition options noted on this slide. This demographic chart shows that Tempe Pre continues to serve a diverse number of students in our community that is representative of our community. As a program, we value, prioritize, and plan for continuous professional development. Ooh, skip the page. Back up. Partnerships. Partnerships have been a key component to the Tempe Pre, with Tempe Pre Elementary School being integral to sites and teaching staff. Within the city, we partner with KidZone as they support extended care at some of our Tempe Pre programs, as well as hold our DHS license. The pictures on this slide highlight our other collaborations within the city, as the park rangers and Tempe library staff have visited our classrooms this school year and provided additional rich learning experiences to the Tempe Pre students. As a program, we value, prioritize, and plan for continuous professional development opportunities each school year for the Tempe Pre staff. The heartwarming picture seen here from one of our Tempe Pre classrooms highlights one conscious discipline skill in practice. Conscious discipline is a trauma-responsive, brain-based approach to self-regulation, discipline, social skills, and the school family into one integrated process. Here, students are taking part in the Wish You Well ritual, where students acknowledge their peers that are absent by putting their hands on their hearts and singing a song. This ritual supports building a strong school family and focuses on teaching empathy towards others. Last year, Tempe Pre presented results at a council work study session around the longitudinal study conducted by the NORC Research Organization on Tempe Pre student outcomes. The study noted that students who were selected to attend Tempe Pre started kindergarten with higher receptive vocabulary and social and emotional skills. One of the recent outcomes on this slide that I wanted to highlight today, that's also been highlighted in the Read On Project Call evaluation report, is that Tempe Pre students came to the summer kindergarten readiness program with already strongly developed literacy skills, maintained those skills, and showed growth in the 7 weeks. This slide shows a few of those key literacy skills data was collected and the percentage growth that children showed. Family outcomes. So not only was Tempe Pre designed to make preschool accessible with free and tuition-based options to improve school readiness in our community, Tempe Pre also seeks to help families improve their quality of life. This slide shares some outcomes that families noted on the 23-24 parent survey, with 99% of families being satisfied to very satisfied with the Tempe Pre program. Not only were families seeing growth within their children, but also noted significant economic opportunities and were able to increase economic vitality, with 58% of families stating they were able to go back to work. Here are some recent quotes about our program, first from a parent and another from one of our Tempe Pre teachers. A parent noted, "I just want to take a minute to say thank you for the positive influence that you've already had on my child. We've noticed that she is pointing out numbers more, counting more, and in general, had an increased interest in numbers. I love hearing her point out a 4 or ask what an 8 looks like. This wasn't the case 3 weeks ago, and I'm certain it's all thanks to your influence. Thank you. She's also trying to write her name now, which is new big stuff for our little one." A Tempe Pre teacher noted, "The collaboration of the city and the schools is a perfect partnership that is better equipped to prepare the children for school, offering resources and early intervention success, and it is coming to fruition in Tempe through the Tempe Pre program. I am grateful for the opportunity and proud to be part of it." Some current and upcoming events for our Tempe Pre program include enrollment for the 25-26 school year opened January 16th and will continue to stay open throughout the school year. Families can go to tempe.gov/TempePre to find the link to the application. And our end of the year celebration for Tempe Pre children and families is coming up in April. I would love to extend the invite to all of you to join us, and we'll be sure to share details when they come. Thank you. And I'll open up for any questions.
Wonderful. All right. Thank you so much for the presentation. First of all, Councilmember Keating.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you very much for the presentation. Tempe Pre is obviously doing great, and Mary, remember how controversial it was back in 2016, and it just to have it gone from there to a 4-3 vote to universally accepted and supported by staff and the council alike, and members of the public too. I think a lot of the points, everyone agrees that early childhood education is such a benefit to the child, but we don't often talk about what a benefit it is to the families as well. So I'm really glad that we're highlighting those points with regards to being able to work more hours, go back to school, obtain secure housing, and the financial cost of childcare as well for a lot of these families is significant. So it's been through a lot through its inception. Moving to the sliding scale was one of the tensest internal meetings I've ever had in this building, and I thank Councilmember Navarro for his help in transitioning, and when we're coming up short on funding. So I couldn't be prouder of this program and the work that you all have done, and it's just, to me, the transition from getting lobbied to help kill it to being the swing vote to seeing it be a highlight of our city is tremendous. So I want to compliment you on the great work that you all have done with this program, because there's no one in the city that doesn't sing the praises of Tempe Pre. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Keating. Next up, Councilmember Adams.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Are you having the children do any mindfulness exercises?
The conscious discipline that I mentioned on one of the slides really encompasses a lot of that.
Okay.
And they have a lot of rituals that they do throughout the day, and some of those are the breathing rituals that kind of aligns with mindfulness as well. It has components of that, yeah.
Okay, great, thank you. And I love that you did the stats, that you went over the stats and how satisfied people are. This is a really impressive program, and I'm excited that the city is doing this. And the children, I observed the children, I think last year, and they were so cute. And you could just see that they were just so far ahead of where, kids that aren't going to the school were. So it was quite impressive. So thank you very much for doing this program. And thanks to the city.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Adams. Councilmember Hodge.
Okay, you guys know I love you guys because we spent a lot of time together over the year. Because what I'm challenging my council members to do is to go in there and read to those kids and see how they read back to you. Because literally I got a chance to read with every school within there, and I do it almost every year. I do it every year. And go in there and actually see our kids, because just looking at it on paper and actually seeing what they do in person, it's mind-blowing to see them actually do the work that they do. The teachers, our staff, everything that goes together, how the playground, everything in there. I mean, it's just something we have. I'm challenging you guys one day just to go in there one time and just read to them and go look at them and take the time to see it in action, because you can never see it until you see it in action and see their faces and how they read back to you. So I'm just proud, and I just thank you guys for all the work you guys do in pre-K. It's a lot of work, and you have the dedication of working with the school district. So I thank you guys for your time and effort you put into it, because there's a lot of work in there to do it. On the back end, you guys do so much. So thank you guys so much for all you do, starting our kids off on the right foot.
Thank you, and thank you for the support. And it's a great team that brings it all together.
Thank you, Councilmember Hodge. Councilmember Amberg.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for the presentation. It was fantastic. The kids are adorable, especially the little girl going down the slide with all the hair. And while I do appreciate all of the information you've given us on the kids, I just want to say that I really, really appreciate the slide where you actually detail how it's positively impacted their parents and their families, because I think that gets missed a lot. And that goes a long way towards a lot of our other priorities for the city as well. So I think highlighting that in the future is a fantastic idea. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Adams.
Yes, just one more thing about the girl going down the slide. It sounds like she's a future engineer, the way she likes her numbers. So go for it.
Thank you. Councilmember Chin.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, I echo what everyone's saying. Thank you for the update. It's a great update. And I just want to point out something that's obvious to me, and it sounds like to Councilmember Amberg, right? This, you see, they're great. They're cute kids, they're achieving, but what's so important is the stats you talked about students who go through pre-K and how more ready they are when they get to kindergarten and how prepared they are. And I look to your colleagues in economic development. That's what companies look for when they come to a community, a city to invest in, is quality education and pre-education. So you contribute to those goals as well. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Chin. Anyone else from council with any further comments or questions? All right, hearing none. Thank you so much. Appreciate the presentation.
Thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda is the call to the audience for committee of the whole items. Also, just as a note too, the City Council welcomes public comment at this time for the committee of the whole items on this work study session agenda. There is a 3-minute time limit per speaker. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to address the council during call to the audience this evening? If so, please get my attention. Okay, seeing none, I will close the public hearing portion and move to item 5, Committee of the Whole. This evening, we do have a couple of proposed council subcommittees, but just to make sure that I'm staying totally on top of everything legally, just want to note to everyone, per City Council Rule 7, subsection 2B, any 2 members of the City Council may propose the formation of a subcommittee at a work study session of the council by identifying the purpose of the proposed subcommittee and the proposed members of the subcommittee and obtaining approval of the majority of the council. So with that said, there's a couple on here this evening. First of all, 5A1, exploring college degree requirements for city jobs. I think I'm going to turn to Councilmember Keating about that item.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to clarify. You said any 2 members of the City Council can propose a subcommittee, correct?
Yes.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Mayor, I'm not sure what the procedure here would be for a continuance on item 5A1. There's been, as you know, Mayor, we are restricted to only being able to open up 2 committees at a time. And something has come today that I would really like to work on. It's possible that it may fall to the City Council. So if possible, I'd like to delay 5A1 till next work study session in lieu of this other opportunity.
I will look to our city manager and city attorney. Is that fine?
Mayor, yeah, that's certainly okay. Or Councilmember Keating could just withdraw that and request it for it to be a future agenda. So
that's fine, Mayor. Then I would like to withdraw item 5A1, please.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. And I'm assuming there's no need for a second on that. I'm assuming this city attorney?
No, Your
Honor. Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Keating. All right, that brings me to item 5A2, which is heat safety for Tempe and contract workers. And I'll also turn to Councilmember Keating on this item as well.
Thank you very much, Mayor. The memo kind of speaks for itself. As we see more and more record-breaking heat in the summer, days over 110, there's been quite an uptick in heat-related deaths in Maricopa County. There are actions that other cities that have taken, such as Phoenix and Tucson and Pima County, that protect construction workers from heat stroke through various means. I would like to explore what the city of Tempe could do in alignment with other cities, what they've done. What are some things that we could do to protect our workers here in Tempe as well? Council members Amberg and Hodge have agreed to join, and I look forward to working with them.
Wonderful. Thank you, Keating. Anyone else on the council? Are there any comments or questions on this proposed item? And if not, is everyone okay with moving forward with that? Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Wonderful. All right, look to the council now. Are there any other proposals for a new council subcommittee at this time? All right, seeing none. 5B, council subcommittee status updates and recommendations for council direction. There are no council subcommittee items ready for a status update or city council direction this evening. So that will bring me to item number 6, future agenda items. Members of the City Council may request that an agenda item be added to a future issue review session, but in accordance with the open meeting law, there should be no discussion on the item other than to clarify the request. Councilmember Keating.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like an update from on Tempe Works, and particularly with regards to expanding possibilities of partnering with local businesses that we may have not already partnered with. Just an overall kind of look at the program and how we can be helpful to expanding it further. Thank you, Mayor.
Sounds good. Madam City Manager, okay?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, Councilmember Keating would be glad to bring it.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Councilmember Hodge?
I would like, if it's possible, an update on our park rangers and how they're doing in the parks. And, I've heard a lot of great things. I think it's time for the city, for everybody else to hear about what a great job they're doing.
Madam City Manager, okay?
Absolutely. Would be happy to.
Okay, wonderful, thank you very much. Any other items under 6A? Okay, hearing, oh, yes, Councilor.
Yes, we're working on putting together a North Tempe development plan and on the north side of the lake. So with Councilmember Amberg and Councilmember Hodge. Okay. So we just haven't gotten it done yet, but we're working on it.
Is that a future agenda item that you're looking at, or?
Nikki?
Mr. Mayor, see if I'm wrong here, Eric, I don't think that would be a future agenda item here, but it would be like an update on,
Yeah, I just want to make
the
sure.
agenda again.
Mr. City Attorney?
Mayor,
B.
I think what I heard was a subcommittee proposal, but I don't want to put words.
We've already established it, so it would just be an update from the current subcommittee. So that would be 5B.
So we would just then get an update for the next subcommittee. Okay. I just wanted to make sure, since we were right on item 6, I was a little confused. So basically that will just be something where we come back and you'll give it an update.
Okay, yes, thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you,
Okay.
Mr.
No,
Mayor.
thank you, Councilor Braddock. Appreciate
We
it.
can make sure it's on the agenda for the next work study session. So.
Wonderful. Okay. Thank you so much. Appreciate you bringing that up. All right. Any other future issue review session agenda items from council? All right, seeing none, I'll close that discussion and move to item number 7, announcements from the mayor and or city manager. I don't have any announcements this evening. Madam City Manager?
No announcements. Thank
Okay,
you, Mr.
wonderful.
Mayor.
Then I will close that portion and move to item number 8, adjournment. The next scheduled work study session is February 13th, 2025. We are adjourned at 4:51 p.m. Thank you, everyone.